All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Gabe Torres. I am a program coordinator here for VitalLink. I do want to thank our students, our educators, and I want to thank our awesome industry panelists for joining us today for our Mount San Jacinto Engineering Tech and Geographic Info Science industry panel. Yesterday was our college panel, so that one will hopefully be up by the end of tomorrow or the end of the week, so you can go ahead and check that out. So I want to ask everyone if they could please mute themselves and turn off the cameras just so we can focus on our panelists that we have today. I'll give some students a little bit more time to log in as well. I do want to thank our industry reps for giving their time and sharing a little bit about their professional and their educational backgrounds in the engineering tech and GIS industries. And hopefully if we have some time at the end, we can answer some questions that come into the chat. But I am actually just going to get started on the first question. And I will start with you, Amy Griffin. If you could please tell me your name, your title, and a brief background about your company.
Sure. My name is Amy Griffin. I am currently the engineering manager for Ortiz Enterprises, which is a heavy-duty civil contractor. I am a civil engineer by trade. I've primarily been in the field of transportation construction, public works projects, bridges, freeways, highways, parks, a little bit of substructure construction. I am a graduate from Cal State Fullerton with a degree of civil engineering.
Awesome, thank you. Bob Mosey.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mosey's Production Machinist is the name of our company, hence the last name. We are a CNC machine shop. We manufacture parts that go into other people's products. So if any of you are mechanical engineers or considering that arena, you may end up designing parts that we make. We use, as I said, all CNC machines, got quite a bit of automation. I grew up in the industry, so I went out of high school working on cars, but then Dad started the business. I came in and learned machining, and I've learned everything from the ground up. So while I may not have an engineering degree, I know how to make parts, and that makes some of the best engineers are the ones that have actually worked in the industry and know how to design parts that can actually be made. So there's,
awesome.
That's us.
Awesome, thank you, Bob. Josh Manley, if you could give us your name, title of your company, and a brief background of it.
Yeah, you got it. So I'm Josh Manley. I'm the education director at Urban Workshop. We are a 28,000 square foot do-it-yourself makerspace. We have wood shop, a metal shop, welding equipment, 3D printing, laser cutters, anything you'd need. We operate a lot like a gym. Sign up for membership. You can come use our tools and our equipment to make what you want. So we're kind of the precursor to Bob's business there, where we teach you how to use those CNC machines that he's talking about. We got a brand new CNC plasma coming in a couple of weeks. So that's pretty cool. My background, I studied pharmacy. I ran my own tutoring company in New York City and then moved out west and had an itch to teach myself how to make things and to work with kids and things like that. So now I have the pleasure of working with over 1,000 kids between the ages of say 10 and 16 and probably close to 5,000 students per year learning any of those trades or disciplines that go into engineering as a stepping stone or just making in general.
That's awesome. So for this like subscription thing, is that just monthly or can you do like a year? So just
you can do monthly and yearly.
Monthly and yearly.
So we've got a couple of different membership options. And if you're a student and you're 16 years or older, you can come and use our equipment with your parent permission. If you're under 16, we've got youth programs and we train on all of the disciplines that I mentioned previously.
Sweet. That's awesome. I've actually never heard of that. Kent Nerhis, if you could please, give us your name, title, and a brief background about your company.
Hey everyone, my name is Kent Nerhus. I've been in the drone industry since 2013. I am the director of drone operations for Endemic Environmental Services. We are a service biomonitoring company, mainly for construction projects, bridges, roads. I am the head of the drone division where we use drones for inspections on those bridges, as well as the roads, in addition to animal surveys using thermal, GIS mapping. And then I also do own my own company called Pilots and Drones, and we are a job placement company where we connect contractors with vetted pilots. So that's another add-on that I have there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Last but not least, Adriana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adriana Lundberg. I work with NGO, and I'm currently in a project, environmental engineer with NGO. Most of my work with the company has been redevelopment projects on the environmental side, as well. That entails my coworkers who get involved. They are geotechnical engineers who work with soil parameters. We have soil, water quality, geology, all sorts of different fields that we incorporate, even coastal engineering. But most of my projects have been related to redevelopment, turning something that is kind of an eyesore or an underused piece of property, and a developer comes along and sees some opportunity there and develops it into something more useful, more beneficial for people to use.
Great. Thank you all for the introductions. Let's get right into the questions. So I'm going to start with you, Bob Mosey, if you don't mind. How much experience do you have in the engineering industry? I know you're more on the manufacturing side, so if you could give us your take on the engineering.
I love engineers. I like working with them. Like I said, I'm not a degreed engineer, but I can certainly sit next to them and help them develop parts that are manufacturable, that fit, that actually function. It's one thing to work CAD. It's another thing to actually make mechanical parts. From my experience, I've seen that some of the best engineers are the ones, as I mentioned before, that have worked in a shop either for a summer or two, at least have some understanding of what the machines are and how they're done, and how we make parts that go into ventilators or airplanes or laboratory equipment. I mean, it's all different industries that we serve. So lots of different careers in manufacturing, and we really depend on mechanical engineers to help design stuff that we can make.
That's
hope
great.
Hope that answers the question.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, like I mentioned before, I think you started that in engineering. It's very broad. And it's nice to see, the other side of it and how manufacturing works pretty much hand in hand with it. So Amy Griffin, same question. How much experience do you have in the engineering industry?
I have been in engineering for 18 years now. As a graduate. Prior to that, I did have the opportunity to engage in several internships, and Bob's absolutely correct. The best engineers are the ones who have been out there and have seen it done and know what it actually takes to do it. So to that, I highly encourage anyone who's considering engineering to get an internship and, get that opportunity to explore some different avenues, especially, engineering is so broad, everything from the moving parts that Bob and his crew work with, and the ground and the building, and the things that the civil engineers work with. So 18 years that I've been out in the professional world. I've been licensed for 14 years, and like I said, I did have the opportunity to explore some of those potentials while I was still in school.
Awesome. Great. Josh Manley, same question.
You got it. I've got 0 years of engineering experience, right? So but it's kind of a funny answer. So I spent some time in a laboratory synthesizing drugs to treat African sleeping sickness, and so I've got manufacturing experience kind of in an engineering way in the science world. And then obviously I work with tools and equipment now, and I've been doing that for the past 6 years. So I've spent all of that time in a similar way to Bob, working alongside engineers. The founder of our company is an engineer. A lot of my employees are actually engineers, and so I've spent a lot of time going back and forth with engineers, and also similar to what he said, when it comes to making stuff, I've also seen the flip side of it, where engineers will come in here with an idea, but they don't have a lot of making experience, particularly say UCI students. So it's really neat to see how engineering changes when people get their hands on the actual manufacturing equipment and learn how to use it. So the two are so closely related that, realistically, I'd probably say 6 years of engineering experience, even though I don't have that technical degree.
Great, great. Well, I mean, yeah, it's very broad, I guess you could keep saying. Adriana, same question. Now, what experience do you have in the engineering industry, or even if not in the engineering industry, like things that are related to it, possibly?
So after graduating, so I got my degree in environmental engineering, and it's actually very closely related to civil engineering. I actually am in the process of getting my civil professional engineering license. So there's enough overlap in background that they recognize, oh, you have over 50% overlap in a lot of real world experience. So I can actually become a civil engineer. And I actually spent my first 2 years out of college as a civil design engineer and did a lot of small subdivision type of they more of the design of wastewater lift stations, conveyance systems for potable water, sewer, all that kind of stuff. Just designing how water flows and how you either get your water or it leaves your house. And then transitioned and wanted to use more of my environmental degree, and found a job with NGO and have been doing environmental engineering, mostly environmental sampling and remediation of impacted sites. So total of 7 years now.
Okay, we have some veterans here today. Kent Nurhis, I know you might be the only one that's actually in the GIS industry, even though some of you kind of work with it as well. But so Kent Nurhis, I'm actually interested to hear what your experience is in the geographic info science industry.
Yeah, so in the GIS industry, my only experience is with drones, but and mainly mapping of drones, but also things like ground control points in the earlier days, and then kind of the systems that go with the drones, like RTK. And then there's also, everyone has now really moved to LiDAR, which is really exciting and really cool, but really expensive. Some of these LiDAR units are like $250,000 just for the camera, but it gives you such accuracy, you know, down to the millimeter accuracy that some of these large firms are looking for, specifically the power line inspection companies. I've gone out with a few demos with a couple of colleagues of mine, and these are autonomous missions as well, which is fairly amazing that the individual that I knew actually had very little even drone experience before that, and within 2 years he's one of the big guys at a big company running a LiDAR drone almost daily, about twice a week. So it's interesting how it's gone from when we were in the beginning, when these drones were doing mapping and it was the new thing. People weren't really getting the ground truthing that they really wanted. But now that they're seeing it with the LiDAR and they could get that accuracy, it's really kind of starting to pick up. And it's really exciting to work with lasers, especially ones that are going like 6,000 times per second or whatever it is. And we're really going to start seeing that grow. So that's kind of my experience in the GIS industry up to this point.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know we had a college panelist yesterday talking about how much the drones have evolved, and it's like so crazy to me how much you can do with them now. Like you said, with the infrared and all in the mapping, it's crazy to me. So question 3, I'll start with you, Josh Manley. So what skills would you say students should have to be successful in the industry, whether it be soft skills or even technical skills?
Soft and technical. Okay, well, I think the technical skills, reading, writing, math. I mean, you just have to have a solid foundation in these subjects. So much of what you're going to do in whatever job you choose is going to be communicating with other people. And obviously we're a technological world now. So a lot of that communication is going to be via email, some of it on phone calls and Zoom calls like this. So communication, both in the physical form and even in a presentation format like this, is going to be vital to the success. In terms of hands-on skills, the more technologies you can expose yourself to, the more machines that you can actually physically operate or have a very good idea about how they operate, then the better the parts and the pieces you're going to be able to design, the more they're actually going to work in the real world. So there's this funny thing where some engineers will come out with a degree in engineering having not physically made anything themselves. And I've spoken to a lot of engineers in the industry who say those engineers take quite a while to mold because they don't understand what can and can't be done. So I'd say if you can get your hands on stuff, if you can get your hands on woodworking equipment, metalworking equipment, welding, cutting, bending, and even if it's cardboard, right? Even if it's just, you're just playing around and you're mocking up things with your hands. I think that hands-on experience is vital.
No, that is so true. I mean, engineering can involve any type of material, pretty much, I think, in a way. So Amy Griffin, same question. What would you say? Top 3 skills a student should have to be successful in the industry?
Well, I have to add on to Josh because, you know, I'm a bridge constructor, but I keep clay and Play-Doh in my desk because sometimes, you know, plans are great, but sometimes you just physically have to mold something to kind of wrap your head around it. So I think that that's a great point that he brings up. I think one of the most important skills for students coming into my field is problem solving. And part of that is curiosity, the curiosity to really dive into a problem and kind of break it down and come up with different ways to approach it. And, you know, as construction is rapidly evolving, we need more viewpoints, more perspectives, more ideas for how we're going to solve some of the transportation and other problems that our industry is facing. So I'd say that's one skill. The other one is written communication. I know Josh touched on it briefly, but it's really critical, especially in construction. We're dealing with contracts, we're dealing with time, we're dealing with schedule, and we're dealing with money. So the more clear you can be with your communication, the better for everyone. You know, that saves money, that keeps everybody out of trouble. So anything you can do to kind of better your ability to express yourself both in person and especially in writing is really important. And then there's obviously a technical component to being a civil engineer. You know, you've got to have the basics down. You know, as civil engineers, and as Adriana touched on, we do have a licensing program, and that license says that all civil engineers have a general basis of this amount of knowledge. So coming into my field, that is something that, you know, you have to have. And I agree with everyone who said you have to build on that with real life experience, but you really do have to start off if you're going to be a technical engineer with some of those technical skills.
So true. Thank you. I like how you pointed out the communication and curiosity. I think those are things some people kind of overlook sometimes. So it was Bob Mosey. Same question.
Same answers. I had the same ones written down. So obviously we're all thinking the same thing. Curiosity. These are all soft skills, really. Curiosity, willingness to learn, and the desire to learn about all kinds of different things. And that open communication, being able to collaborate with other people in a team, work on designs, have your ears open a lot so that you can hear the issues that your clients or customers have so that you can help them better. So curiosity, willingness to learn, and open communication.
So great. Yep, they are good answers. Adriana, should I ask you, or do you have the same?
I would like to, yeah, to third the communication. Written communication, especially, it's very nice, of course, to be able to communicate verbally, spoken word with people. But if you're unable to clearly write something, or, for example, if you're observing something and you need to take notes, and then somebody sees you have to show an inspector your notes, and it's unlegible, it doesn't make sense, and all the words are spelt wrong, it doesn't come across very professional, and it kind of gives a bad impression. So just having that solid foundation of writing, and I know we as engineers do have to take writing classes, but yeah, just kind of, I think, emphasizing that the written side of the technical communication, technical writing specifically, is a great thing to be able to do. Critical thinking skills, very similar to what Amy touched on there. You do build in college that foundation that you're going to need. And then as you get to your company, wherever you end up working, or if you create your own company, whatever skills you need will be kind of developed there. Whatever they see as, you know, a need for whatever you're going to be doing, you'll build that as you go. But the technical foundation from school, getting that critical thinking aspect is very important. And then the third thing for me, humility, having empathy and understanding, and being able to communicate on a person-to-person level. Basically, everything we do boils down to people. So having, and I know a lot of engineering students, myself being one of them, kind of socially awkward, especially in college. Like, you're not really doing the whole communication thing very well. So yeah, getting those people skills and having some humility and asking questions about people, learning about them. I really highly recommend that as well.
That's great. Thank you. It's funny that you said the awkwardness thing, or someone mentioned that yesterday about engineers being a kind of an introvert type of, which is funny. So Kent, if you could answer the question, please. What 3 skills would you say students should have to be successful in the industry that you're in?
Yeah, so first one, I always tell, I mean, I coached football for years. I coached football for like 10 years. So I always used to say, work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because that's going to come back no matter what. So if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, it's going to come out in your job anyways. So always be sure to take care of yourself first, and don't get caught up in the rat race too much. We all do that, and we get so hyper focused a lot, especially in my industry, technology. You got to be ahead of the game, right? You can't be behind, because you could turn a corner and then all of a sudden you lose out on a bunch of contracts just because you weren't paying attention or something like that. So really, that's the number one for me. Number 2, get a mentor. That's really was really a highlight for me. I started coaching football at a very young age, and when you get yourself around mature professionals who have the same mindset and the same goals that you do, and will really help you project your career, and no matter what you do, because they have years of experience ahead of you, and they'll tell you the bad beats that they have, and they might not be able to tell you what you need to do, but they will be able to sure tell you what not to do, and they will be able to tell you the mistakes that they made, that in order to help you not hit those curbs so much. And number 3 is network. Networking is huge. Having a big network, a big professional network, getting yourself out there, even if you're just an engineer who wants to design things. I mean, you can still go to conferences and things like that. It's always good to get around like-minded people and to be able to adapt, because in this ever-changing world, especially since, I mean, how hyper fast have our lives gone in the past 2 years, right? I mean, 2 years ago, nobody was really using Zoom. Now it's all a part of our lives. I mean, we're on it right now. So again, networking has been so beneficial, not only in job and career projection, but just also meeting some really cool people. So that would be my 3.
Those are definitely 3 great answers for sure. Definitely, I do like the part about, working on yourself first, because it does start with you, and then you go into your career. Those are awesome. Everybody definitely had great answers, which I think someone mentioned in chat, which they are all good for almost any career that you go into before you start. So that's awesome. So question number 4, I will start with you, Adriana. Are there any certifications that you believe could benefit a student before they go into the industry or even to your company?
Certifications for students before, I'm not really actually aware of very many prior to graduating and getting into the field. But upon graduation, I think even now you can even apply while you're in college still for what's called an engineer in training, EIT certification. And then following that up with, as Amy and I have touched on, as you get your years of experience in the field and knowledge, then you can become a professional engineer. But before graduating or before getting to the company, I suppose, yeah, I'm not actually very aware of very many certifications that are helpful, but maybe hopefully Amy knows some.
Yeah, Amy, if you want to elaborate on that.
So definitely, if you're very seriously considering getting into engineering, specifically civil, EIT is a great first step and something I recommend you do during college because it's way easier than if you wait. But for my field, specifically for construction, and it's a certification that we will put anyone through. But if you're really sure that you want to get in construction and you want to have an edge, then I would recommend considering an OSHA certification. So there's 10 and 30-hour OSHA certifications. Like I said, this is not at all a requirement, but it is something that I was asked because one of the first things I'm going to do with any new hire, whether it's an intern or a project manager, is I'm going to send them to an OSHA training. So that's something that you could do both to kind of get a general idea of some of the safety things that'll come up, especially for us in construction out in the field. An OSHA class is not going to be the end all of your safety training, but like you said, if you're really sure you want to head out in construction, you just want to have that like tick on your resume that's going to move you to the top of my pile, I would say that that's one I would consider looking into.
Okay, great, awesome. Bob Mosey, would you say there are any certifications that students can achieve before going to your industry or even your type of work?
For our type of work, I like to see what they've done as youths, if you will. Were they an Eagle Scout? Was their hobby working on cars? Did they go to Josh's school and learn how to make something ahead of time? Something, maybe not certificates or anything specific, but what are their hobbies? What do they like to do? Because what you like to do, like I grew up working on cars, so I love working with my hands. That's what kind of led me into this career. And that's where we see some of our best machinists and stuff are folks that have always worked on something or built something at home. And that's their hobby. That's what they like to do.
That's great. I like that answer. You know, it's not, because there are some students who don't like to, go to the schooling and actually get a certificate, but they have a certain hobby like you with cars or something like that. That's cool. Josh Manley, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to provide a slightly different take here. So I was thinking about it as we're talking here, and I just realized, so a couple of certifications you could get. I really like, Bob, I liked your answer a lot. If you want to work here, if you want to work with your hands, if you want to be a product developer and you want to collaborate with engineers, you just got to get that hands-on making experience. It's all about what you can do. Now, this is something worth considering for people who, even if they are going to an engineering program, can do, and that's an AWS welding certification if you like working with metals, or a NIMS certification if you like working with metals and metal shops and stuff like that. Or even you could go the electrician route, you can go the foreman route. There's a lot of different certifications that are specific to industries that pay very, very well. They're not exactly engineering, but if you're trying to get a stepping stone to engineering, maybe you got to pay your way through school. You've got to figure out how to make it work for yourself. Especially an AWS welding certification would allow you to make $50+ an hour part-time while also going to school, while also pursuing an engineering degree, while also doing these other things. And I would say also there's not a certification for it. I guess there are a lot of pseudo certifications, but CAD and CAD modeling is another one of the areas where if you get good at three-dimensional modeling on computers, people will pay you to do that. So my suggestion would be, if it's engineering specifically that you want to focus on and you've got the money for college and you can make that happen now, go ahead and do it. But if you can't, consider either going into the trades or developing a skill set that engineers actually use to help you pay your way through school.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. So Kent, same question. Do you believe there are there any certifications that students can have, or do you think it would benefit them before they're going into your industry or even your career, what you do?
Yeah, obviously GIS, you want to get all, whichever survey you want, whichever surveyor you want to be able to get those certifications. You want to get your schooling grounded, because really this situation is, it's kind of like educated based, where you're going to most likely be working. And when you're working for GIS, you are working a lot with larger companies that are generally working with other large companies, and they like highly qualified people. And the same thing goes for drones. You want to get your commercial license and things like that. I've always gone by just the philosophy of any certification you can get it. It's only going to help you, and it's only going to further your education. Like Bob said, for example, what I like I said, I want to be a football coach. So right out of high school, I started volunteering right away. But I just didn't volunteer for Pop Warner coaching. I volunteered for camps. I volunteered for combines. I volunteered for coaching clinics, so I could sit and listen to the coaches talk about football for free. And then all of a sudden, when I got into drones, all of a sudden I was up on the panel and people were listening to me for free. So it kind of switched, but you can really start gathering all the information you can, because no matter what, you're going to get your shot. Whatever avenue you go down, you're going to get your shot at one point. And it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And so that's really kind of one of the keystones that I like to live by. So if you can get any certification going down whatever avenue you want to, just go for it. It's only going to help.
True. Very good advice. That is so true. Yeah, I mean, go for any opportunity that you see. That's so good. That kind of goes into this next question we have. So I'll stick with you, Kent. I feel like I always pick you last, so I'll start with you today this time. So the next one is, does your company offer volunteer or apprenticeship opportunities? And if not, what would you suggest students to do to gain experience before going into your industry?
Yes, we offer volunteering and apprenticeship opportunities at Endemic Environmental Services. You can go to our website, endemicenvironmental.net, and you can contact them. We have projects, if you're in California, we have projects all over California, from Southern California. If you want to work in a park and do maintenance, we have that. If you want to do water quality, if you want to do biomonitoring, we do internships for so many different things. The owner of our company, he's huge on internships. He loves to help give young students an opportunity. He's actually a professor of ecology at UCI and runs a program out of there called ICRE, and it's a volunteer program. And they do things like they go to parks and they put in endemic plants, or though I think a couple of weeks ago they went out and they did a owl banding, where they caught these owls in the morning and then they put little bands on their legs so they can tag them and things like that. So yes, absolutely. I have volunteered. I still volunteer to this day. I still do internships and things like that, believe it or not, because I'm always trying to grow and I'm always trying to get into other industries. And sometimes that's the only way you can get your foot in the door, is to get that experience. But it's always an investment in yourself. And like I've said earlier in the video, it's always best to invest in yourself. And that's what internships are. It's an investment in yourself for later on down the road. So yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Awesome. So true. Never stop learning, right? Never stop learning. So I'll go next to you with you, Josh Manley. Are there any, I know you guys do workshops for students, but are there any like apprenticeship opportunities for students before they go into the industry, or if they want to work with your company? Like, yeah, do you have any volunteer or apprenticeship opportunities?
Yeah, good question. So no volunteer, no apprenticeship opportunities. We do have paid positions. So if you're 16 or older and you're looking to get your foot in the door, you're interested in making things, you already make things, something like that, we are hiring front desk associates. We're hiring shop technicians. We're also always hiring youth and adult instructors, but those don't start until 18 or over. And really, it just depends on a couple of positions. You don't need any experience prior to doing it. So if you're a technician, then you often start by doing things like cleaning the bathrooms or sweeping the wood shop, or just kind of getting acquainted with that. If you're a front desk associate, you're getting your foot in the door. We're training you with a bunch of classes. You're answering phones. You're managing customer service, doing stuff like that. So there are definitely opportunities to come and get a job here. We've got active positions open in all 4 roles right now. And as long as you've got a clear vision in your head, then you don't have to look at taking a front desk position like that's not the right path for you, because maybe that unlocks the opportunity for you to take classes with us for free, for you to learn and grow and ask questions of engineers for free. So nothing volunteer, nothing internship wise, but absolutely we'll hire the person with the right personality, who's ready and eager to learn and grow and wants to get their hands on some of this equipment.
That's awesome. So true. Just being around it, I'm assuming you'll learn a lot. So Amy Griffin, how about you guys?
Yes, we do have internships. So if you are engineering, construction management, and you're interested, we have internships available over the summer. We'll have people come out. We also have some interns who work during the week. Sometimes they can get a day or a day and a half in around their school schedule. And it's really a great opportunity because you can kind of see everything that we do. And the nice thing about contracting is, well, your boots on the ground, you're outside in the sunshine, but you're getting exposed to kind of all those components, the environmental constraints, the permits, the owners. So it's really a great opportunity to kind of get out there and try different things. I will drop the website in the chat, but ortizent.com. You can send your resume. There's a general mailbox there that will get to me. And in addition, and I think that Josh, you touched on this briefly, but if you are interested in the trades, we are a union contractor. All of the unions offer apprenticeships. So that means if you're interested in going into carpentry, or you're interested in becoming an operator of heavy equipment, or a laborer or electrician, you can go to any of those union halls. Some of it varies by the union. Usually there's a written test, a short written test, but you can jump in and actually start doing that trade work. And like Josh said, these are very high paid jobs. These are jobs that will give you a ton of experience. In contracting, we have some who come through an engineering route, some who kind of come up through a field route. And we also have those who have been a hybrid. We have one of our engineers who started off as a carpenter and just really got a great perspective about what it takes to build things. So we do have our engineering internships, but I also encourage people who may need to pay their way through school, or are just kind of ready to get some hands-on experience. Those apprenticeships through the union are sort of like a college that you get paid to attend. There is training, they have classes, but you get an hourly rate, you get benefits, you get vacation time, and it's really a great opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Bob Mosey.
Nothing formal necessarily. We on occasion do hire engineering students and stuff for summers and stuff. And it's not really an internship, like a formal internship, but it's more of a paid job. But it does give them the opportunity to come in and Josh, they may be sweeping the floor, but they also might be in assembly. They might also be operating a machine. Last year's student was with us for, I think, 4 months. And he started out running the saw, just cutting bar stock and cleaning and helping clean out the machines. And then he ran the machines. And then we were implementing a new ERP system, which involved changing out all the workbenches with new benches, monitors, small little computers, so they could all be electronic. And we're getting rid of all the paper out on the floor. It's all going to be electronic. And he implemented all of that while he was here, which he thoroughly enjoyed. He almost didn't want to go back to school. He was having so much fun. So yeah, those opportunities are here. I've had engineers work for the summer, finish their degree, go to work somewhere else, and need machine parts and call us back because they remember who we were. They now become our customers. So, it's a great little world and a great little community. And again, any opportunity you have to get your hands on something is good experience for you.
Great. Thank you. And Adriana.
Yes, NGO does offer paid internships. typically through the summer months, summer break, but we actually have had some students even before they're starting in the summer, they've come in over their winter breaks and worked for a couple weeks just to get some experience and meet everybody. And then I can drop a link in the comments as well, but we do have open internship positions hiring mostly in Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, but occasionally there are some openings. We do have offices in Irvine, in Santa Clarita, and San Diego, but I'm not aware of any openings in those offices right now, but sometimes if they see an application come through, they'll give a call even if there isn't anything scheduled coming up, but we do offer paid internships.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if you could put it in the chat, that would be great. Appreciate that. Okay, so due to time, I'm actually going to skip to our last question, and I will leave it up to the room. Everybody's given such great advice during this whole panel, and the last question is actually, what advice would you guys give to students who are interested in the career field that you guys are in currently? So if anybody wants to, say some last words before we close, you can go ahead.
I would say keep showing up for things like this. Keep talking to engineers, keep talking to machinists, talk to people who are in the field you're interested in. Most of us are in these fields because we care a lot about them and they're a passion for us. And I know I could be a bore at a dinner party because I can talk to you about bridges all day, every day. So I think that if you just, really keep your ears open and just be curious about people and, kind of get to hear their stories, and that'll really give you a leg up.
Right. Awesome.
And similarly, Kent earlier had mentioned networking, and that's, I think, piggybacking off of Amy too, that's just such a huge thing, attending these kind of events, even reaching out to people that you don't know, like on LinkedIn. I don't know if LinkedIn is a thing for younger people now, but that is for older folks. So reach out to people on LinkedIn who have been in the industry, and most people are pretty friendly when you actually reach out and send a nice personalized message, just letting them know how you found them and you're interested in learning more about their field, their career, whatnot. Just making connections is a great step.
So true.
Good point,
also,
Adriana. I actually have, I'm sorry, Kent. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. And even though I own a business, I'm not looking for a job or anything, but I'm trying to connect with our customers and the engineers and stuff. I have engineering students contacting me all the time wanting to network with me. So if you're not doing that already, you should be, because that's going to build your resume going forward. And just real quick, if I can, the question before this that you skipped, Gabe, was something I just kind of wanted to touch on a bit. What do you see for the future of this industry? Growing up, all the machines that I used were manual. I had to crank handles and it was all out and exposed. Then we progressed into the computerized numerical control machines that are all enclosed and computers running the machine, no handles on the machine at all. Now with automation, even that has got more technical, and the button pushers and the machine operators and stuff, those jobs are kind of morphing into more technical, and the folks that don't advance and continue to learn the new technology, particularly and when it comes to automation, you're going to miss the boat. So if I had to focus on anything, automation and all the different things that go with that would be a great career focus.
Great.
Very nice. Yeah, I can definitely second that. I see a lot of that in the shop here. And I think if I had to leave you all with one bit of advice, it would be that education isn't something you get, it's something you take. You have to be proactive. You have to go and get it for yourself. You have YouTube, you have Google, you have all these resources that, as I was growing up, they weren't fully developed. But man, do you have the world at your disposal. So if you can actually cultivate that curiosity like people talked about and go out there and grab that education, you can make the world what you want.
And I would add, do what you love. Go after something that you're passionate about, because that way you truly will never work a day in your life. Don't tell my boss, I can't believe I get paid to fly drones every single day. Just don't tell him. Don't tell him he pays me, but I get to do that every day. So I never feel like I ever work, ever. I haven't felt like I've worked in like 5-6 years. So after 20 years of customer service, so we could do that. But yes, do what you love. Do what you love.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you guys. Definitely some great advice. So yeah, this is coming to a close. Thank you to all our industry panelists for sharing all your guys' insights, definitely about the engineering, technology, and manufacturing as well, and the GIS industry. Thank you to the students and educators too for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot. I definitely did. I always do at these. Like I said before, this is being recorded, so hopefully at the end of the week I'll have this done, and also the college panel from yesterday as well. I will give the industry panelists some time to put in contact info if they want to. During that, I just want to share my screen real quick so I can show everybody our VitalLink app, which has information about MSJC too, as well, about some certificates and degrees for both industries, salary information, some workshops and some pictures. And also to our exhibitors, some information about their companies. And just as an example, you can go ahead and click in and see some videos that they have, some stuff about the company, pictures, and also links that they have shared. So once again, thanks everybody for showing up. I definitely appreciate it. And I know students, educators did as well. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much, Gabe. Thanks, crew.